Welcome to episode 9 of Classroom Pizza. We are done with our ingredient deep dive. It is March. We are into our recipe madness. 5 weeks, 5 brand new recipes. Let's get into it. The first recipe in our March recipe madness is buffalo chicken pizza. This is probably my favorite pizza, recently popularized. I feel like in the last few years it's been an explosion of buffalo chicken pizza. When I went to school in New England, that was kind of the first time I ever heard about it. And then buffalo chicken everything is now my favorite of all things. So let's look at our buffalo chicken pizza recipe.
Let's start off with the dough. First, we're of course going to need the flour. So 330 grams of Tipo 00 flour, 10 grams of fine sea salt, 15 grams of olive oil, 0.4 grams of instant yeast, which is about 1/6 of a teaspoon, 15 grams of sugar, and 220 grams of 105-degree Fahrenheit water. Once measured out, start by adding your water, salt, sugar, and olive oil to a large bowl. Mix all of those ingredients and then add your yeast. Mix again and then slowly begin to pour in your flour little by little and mixing with your other hand as you pour. This part is crucial to slowly integrate all of the ingredients together. From there, take your dough ball and begin to hand knead the dough on your counter surface. You can oil your hands up to help you keep the dough from sticking to your hands, and make sure you give a full 15 minutes of kneading. Use a timer to keep yourself honest because this stage is crucial for the gluten development. Now we're going to leave the dough ball covered with a damp cloth at room temperature for 1 hour. After the hour, split the dough ball into 2 equal halves and form 2 smaller doughs by tucking them under themselves and pinching it underneath to seal it. Throw both of those dough balls into their own airtight containers and let them sit for at least 6 hours at room temperature.
Okay, so while we're waiting for our dough to rise, let's get to work on the sauce.
So let's take a clove of garlic and we're just going to take off all of the outside of the garlic, but leave a very thin bit of layer just so that we have something to kind of keep it all together. So now let's put that to the side. Grab our cutting board and our knife and we're just going to cut the top off here, right along the top. Alright, and notice I cut some of them I didn't cut. That's fine either way. We do want to try to cut open as many as we can because it's just going to make getting them out at the end a lot easier. Okay, so now take your tin foil, throw that in the middle, and then we're going to take some olive oil and drizzle that on top. Just like that. Okay, now we're going to wrap that up. And that's going to go into the oven on 350 degrees for at least 45 minutes. Could go longer depending on how much roasted flavor you want.
I suggest first, once your garlic is done, take that out of the oven and then crank your oven as high as it goes, about an hour before you're ready to make your pizza. Then make sure you're also throwing your cheese into the freezer. That's a big part of making sure your cheese doesn't melt faster than the dough is able to cook. And then also I would say start your buffalo chicken probably 30 minutes out, and then the sauce will be the very last piece right before you're ready to spread your dough.
Okay, so let's start with our chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and butterfly this breast, and then I'm going to do the same for a second breast. You'll only need one, but I'm going to keep an extra one for another pizza, but 1 full breast per pizza. And then I'm going to salt and pepper both sides of these fillets. So flip them and salt and pepper that side. And then pan sear them to perfection. Okay, now you could boil them, you could bake them, you could grill them. However you decide to cook them, the next step is the same. You are going to finely shred these chicken breasts. So however you cook them down is fine, because the next step will be pretty much the same. If you want to add that smokiness from the grill though, that might give it a nice extra kick. So finally shred this and then put that to the side. Okay, so we're going to start with a tablespoon of butter and just a drizzle of olive oil. And then we're going to pour in a half cup of Frank's hot sauce, a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of chili pepper, and then mix all that together. Let it simmer for a little bit and then throw in our shredded chicken. Mix all that up together and your chicken is good to go. So go ahead and set that aside. You can turn that off and put it off of heat.
Looks and smells like our garlic is ready, so let's take a look.
Okay, so the garlic is ready. Opening it up, you can just smell the aroma. These should easily pop out. Disclaimer, they are piping hot. I did not wait for them to cool down, but they should easily fall right out and be pretty easy for you to collect. And once you do, you should have a nice little plate of them. Okay, now in a separate saucepan, we're going to go ahead and start with a teaspoon of butter, olive oil, and mix all that together over medium heat. Then go ahead and grab your roasted garlic and throw those in to taste. I only put in a couple. You might want more or fewer depending on how garlicky you want it, but you'll notice that the garlic is very soft, so you're basically just gonna mix all of this together, crush them up, and kind of slowly simmer this down into almost like a garlic paste. So go ahead and cook that and then leave that on super low heat, as low as you can go, while you are preparing your dough. Okay, now for the fun part. Let's get our pizza assembled. So we're gonna start by gently taking out our dough. So use some flour to help get it out, but be very careful not to burst any of the air pockets, so treat it very gently. And we're just gonna use our fingers to push all that excess air from the middle into the outside, into the dough, right? So we're forming our dough now, making sure to use flour liberally and just make sure that it's easy to work with. Then we're gonna grab our board, give a little bit of cornmeal, and just stretch our pizza there. So once we've formed the overall shape of our dough, we're gonna go ahead and grab our sauce. Okay, so now with the sauce, you can definitely just use the butter and olive oil. If you would like a less kind of strong, I will borderline want to say overpowering garlicky taste, I love garlic, so I do put the actual garlic cloves on, and I, just kind of smash them in because, like I said, they are very soft, so you can feel free to do that. And then lastly here, we are gonna throw on our cheese, which is a Swiss and Monterey Jack blend. I'm not going to put on the buffalo chicken yet. I'm going to cook my pizza first because the buffalo chicken is already cooked and ready to go, and it just needs to be warmed up. So let's leave that off for now.
My pizza's been in now for about 6 minutes, and probably going to go to about 8 or 9 minutes depending on how the cheese and the dough look. So about halfway through, I'd say, go ahead and take your pizza out, throw the buffalo chicken back on, and just throw it back in to get the buffalo chicken nice and up to temperature, as well as melt that extra layer of cheese that we threw on.
Okay, so let's go ahead and top this now. So you can feel free to use as much or as little of our buffalo chicken as you want. I'm probably going to use up most of this. So just give a nice even layer across the top of your pizza. Like I said, we've cooked it for about 6 minutes. Now throw on the remainder of cheese, just a little last drizzle here, and then we are good to throw it back in and finish it off. Alright, and here is our final product. We're not quite done. Our final step here is we're going to take our ranch and just give it a nice drizzle on top. Alright, both sides there, and then we're going to take some parsley, just give it a little bit of green here. And you could use chives. Chives might even be better here, but I just wanted a little bit of extra green here. And voila.
Your homework this week should come as no surprise. Make the buffalo chicken pizza from scratch, start to finish, and then take a picture of it, post it on social media, and tag Classroom Pizza, letting me know how it went. 1 recipe down, 4 to go. March Recipe Madness. I hope you all love this pizza as much as I do. Buffalo chicken really has a special place in my heart. So I hope you guys love it. Let me know how it goes, and I will see you back next week for another recipe. As always, thanks for coming to class.